In the world of Hollywood, Anne Heche's star shone brightly, captivating audiences with her talent and charm. But in a shocking turn of events, Anne's life took a devastating twist on a serene August morning. Behind the wheel of her Mini Cooper, she collided with a house in Los Angeles, triggering an inferno that would forever change her fate. Join us as we uncover the highs and lows of Anne Heche's journey, from her rise to fame to the tragic end that shook the film industry and her beloved fans to its core. Anne was born on May 25, 1969, in Aurora, Ohio. Raised by a Baptist choir director and a homemaker, her early life was deeply rooted in conservative religious beliefs. Her father led a turbulent life, frequently changing jobs and pursuing get-rich-quick schemes. When Anne was just 12 years old, her father died from AIDS-related complications. Anne reflected on how her father's closeted life ultimately had a destructive impact on his happiness in their family. However, it also taught Anne the importance of honesty, as she realized that nothing else is as valuable. In the face of the family's daunting financial struggles, Anne took on a job at a boardwalk hamburger stand, where she would sing songs from Annie to attract customers. After her father died, Anne felt a profound sense of responsibility to provide for her family. With determination that burned like a beacon, she embarked on a courageous journey into the world of acting, taking her first steps at a humble dinner theater in New Jersey, where she earned $100 a week. Her unwavering pursuit of her passion eventually led the family to make a life-altering decision to relocate to the Chicago area. During her high school years, fortune smiled upon Anne when a talent scout spotted her talent during a school production. And upon graduation, she set her sights on the vibrant city of New York, where she would join the cast of the daytime drama Another World. In the show, she portrayed twins Marley and Vicky Hudson, two characters with strikingly different personalities, one gentle and sweet, the other possessing a wicked edge. For her remarkable work, Anne was awarded a Daytime Emmy in 1991, marking a significant milestone in her promising career. Transitioning to the silver screen, Anne ventured into feature films with her debut role in An Ambush of Ghosts in 1993. However, Anne's career was about to reach new heights when she secured a significant part in the 1997 film Donnie Brasco. In this movie, she took on the role of the wife of an undercover FBI agent portrayed by Johnny Depp, whose marriage is put to the test by her husband's secret profession. Anne's exceptional performance in this film earned her widespread recognition and acclaim, both commercially and critically. During that period, Anne Heche seemed to be riding the wave of cinematic success, scoring roles in the action-packed drama Volcano alongside Tommy Lee Jones, and the witty political satire Wag the Dog with the iconic duo Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro. However, in 1997, Anne's personal life took center stage as she made headlines for her romantic involvement with the one and only Ellen DeGeneres, a renowned comedian and sitcom star. Although sometimes described as the world's first gay super couple, this newfound relationship also raised questions and uncertainties among some observers. They wondered if this romantic connection would negatively impact Anne's career and if she could still convincingly portray heterosexual romantic roles. Anne once said in an interview, "I was in a relationship with Ellen DeGeneres for 3.5 years, and the stigma attached to that relationship was so bad that I was fired from my multi-million-dollar picture deal, and I did not work in a studio picture for 10 years. Nevertheless, amidst the speculations about the future of her career, Anne defied the odds and continued to thrive. She boldly stepped back into the spotlight, starring with Harrison Ford in the exhilarating 6 Days, 7 Nights, playing the role of an ambitious magazine editor who becomes marooned on a deserted island with a gruff cargo pilot. However, life took an emotional turn for Anne after her relationship with Ellen DeGeneres came to an end in 2000. She found herself navigating a challenging period, which culminated in a brief hospitalization after knocking on a stranger's door in a rural area near Fresno, California. Anne had left her vehicle at the side of a rural road and walked 1.5 miles, wearing only a bra and shorts, in extremely hot weather without water, before feeling dehydrated and knocking on the door of a ranch house. The homeowner recognized Anne from 6 Days, 7 Nights and was astonished that a celebrity would show up at this in-the-middle-of-nowhere location. Authorities later stated that Anne appeared shaken and disoriented and spoke incoherently to the residents. She claimed to be an incarnation of God named Celestia, who would take humanity to heaven in a spaceship. She later described the incident as a psychotic break, and it was a moment of emotional turbulence for Anne. In her 2001 memoir, Call Me Crazy, Anne opened up with remarkable honesty about her lifelong struggles with mental health and a childhood of abuse. "I'm not crazy," she told ABC News that year, "but it's a crazy life. I was raised in a crazy family, and it took 31 years to get the crazy out of me. To cope with the trauma of my life, I drank, I smoked, I did drugs, I did anything I could to get the shame out of my life." In a sit-down with Larry King in 2001, Anne said she believed she was schizophrenic, but never told anybody until then. "I was a perfect hider. I was raised to hide. I was raised to pretend. I was raised to always tell everybody that everything was fine, and even though I was in therapy for years, I never told anybody that I had another personality. I never told anybody that I heard voices and spoke to God," the star said. In the fall of 2006, Anne's talents transcended the pages of her memoir and the movie screens as she began working on her own series, Men in Trees. Anne stepped into the lead role as Maren Frist. Maren, a relationship expert, embarks on a transformative journey to a charming small town in Alaska after facing a few romantic setbacks. The series captured the hearts of viewers, showcasing Anne's remarkable talent and charisma. However, just 1 year later, Anne's life began to mirror the complexities of her own on-screen character. Her marriage with Coley LaFoon came to an end after 5 years of being together, triggering a highly publicized and emotionally charged child custody battle that garnered significant attention. Throughout this turbulent period, Anne remained steadfastly devoted to her craft. Her star continued to shine brightly, gracing both the big and small screens with her remarkable talent. Little did she know the fate that awaited her. On August 5th, 2022, while behind the wheel of her Mini Cooper, Anne found herself in not one, not two, but 3 harrowing car collisions that would change her life forever. The first collision unfolded when Anne's car hit a garage at an apartment building, causing relatively minor damage. A video that TMZ released shows Anne's car at the scene of the accident. In the video, a man can be heard yelling, "Get out of the car!" to the driver, but the car reverses and drives away. But things got even worse. Just minutes after the first collision, a second accident was reported where Anne's car hit another car, a Jaguar, and she didn't stop. Luckily, the person in the other car wasn't hurt. You can see her car speeding down a small road and almost hitting a pedestrian shortly after. However, the most catastrophic moment was yet to come. Tragedy struck in the tranquil neighborhood of Mar Vista in West Los Angeles shortly before 11 a.m. In the third and final crash, Anne's car collided with a house with such force that it breached a wall and embedded itself a staggering 30 feet into the building, entrapping Anne within its fiery wreckage. The impact led to a catastrophic fire, and the urgency of the situation became immediately apparent, as can be heard in the 911 call made from the scene.
Is there anybody trapped in the car? Yes. Is there somebody trapped in the car? Yes. So yes, there's somebody is trapped in the car. Is the patient awake? Yeah. There's a fire. Yes.
The circumstances were dire as firefighters raced against time to access and extract Anne from the damaged vehicle. For a daunting 65 minutes following their arrival at the scene, they grappled with the treacherous conditions and were initially unaware that a person was trapped within the vehicle itself. The intense fire and smoke made it incredibly challenging for rescuers to access the vehicle and extract Anne safely. Given the heavy fire and smoke conditions, it wasn't that you could clearly see into the vehicle or clearly be able to access it, said Deputy Chief Richard Fields, explaining why it took 20 minutes before firefighters could even start pulling the car from the burning house. Heavy smoke conditions in combination with heavy fire conditions made it very difficult for us to just see each other on the inside of a working structure fire. The fire was incredibly large, and it took a total of 65 minutes to put it out, requiring the heroic efforts of 59 firefighters to fully extinguish it. By the time Anne was finally rescued from the car, at 11:49 a.m., she had suffered severe burns and smoke inhalation injuries. As Anne was being taken away from the crash site, a video showed her sitting up on a stretcher. She seemed to be having a difficult time with the firefighters as they were trying to get her into the ambulance. Shortly after that, Anne lost consciousness. Initially, Anne was brought to the Ronald Reagan Medical Center for immediate emergency care due to the severity of her injuries. Later, she was transferred to the Grossman Burn Center at West Hills Hospital because she had sustained significant burn injuries from the accident. On August 8th, a spokesperson for Anne provided an update revealing that she was in a coma and in critical condition. Anne required assistance with breathing due to the lung injury she had suffered in the accident. The spokesperson also clarified that earlier reports stating she was in stable condition were inaccurate. However, she was being kept on life support in accordance with her expressed wish to be an organ donor. A few hours later, Anne was declared brain dead, but she remained on life support to assess the viability of her organs for donation as well as to locate suitable recipients. Under California law, she was considered legally dead at that time. Anne Heche died at the age of 53. On August 14th, it was announced that suitable organ recipients had been found, and Anne's body would undergo the organ donation procedure on that day. In honor of her selfless act of organ donation, hospital staff held an honor walk for Anne. Later that evening, her publicist announced that she had been peacefully taken off life support. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner coroner recorded the cause of her death as inhalation and thermal injuries, with a sternal fracture due to blunt trauma, listed as an other significant condition. The autopsy report further noted a laceration to her right kidney and burns covering over 12% of her body. Her death was ultimately ruled as an accident. But what happened in those harrowing last moments? Initially, the police thought Anne was acting strangely and possibly under the influence of drugs, and a preliminary blood test indicated the presence of cocaine and other drugs in her system. However, as further investigation unfolded, it became clear that these substances were not a factor at the time of the crashes. On December 6, 2022, the medical examiner's office definitively stated that Anne did not have drugs in her system when the crashes occurred. The cocaine they found was determined to be old and unrelated to the incident. While there were some drugs detected in her urine, they were not present in her blood. These drugs were a result of the medical treatment she received at the hospital. Toxicology findings from the LA County Department of Medical Examiner coroner confirmed that Anne was not impaired by drugs or alcohol at the time of the fatal crash. The blood drawn from her in the emergency room showed traces of an inactive cocaine metabolite, suggesting previous cocaine use prior to her tragic passing. Additionally, her urine sample contained traces of cannabinoids and benzodiazepine, which were not found in her blood, along with a level of fentanyl consistent with therapeutic use, according to the coroner's report. In the aftermath of the crash, Lynn Michelle, the woman who had been renting the Mar Vista house that Anne had crashed into, filed a substantial $2 million lawsuit against the actress's estate in November. The crash made the house so damaged that no one could live there anymore. Lynn and her pets were inside the house at the time of the crash, just feet away from where the car came to a halt, according to the complaint. Luckily, Lynn only had minor injuries. She did, however, lose a lot of her things in the fire. The lawsuit alleged negligence, trespass, and negligent infliction of emotional distress, highlighting the severe structural damage to the home and the significant firefighting effort required to contain the blaze. Lynn also claimed the loss of irreplaceable tokens and mementos from her deceased parents, leaving her in a state of severe trauma and without a place to call home. "I believe in life everlasting," Anne wrote in Call Me Anne, the posthumously released follow-up to her revealing 2001 memoir, Call Me Crazy. "I believe it is ours to choose. For all the rest of my time on this earth, I choose to live to the fullest of my potential. I wake each day to another adventure and seek the wisdom that it offers. That is the truth of me." If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on more tragic stories.